BPS 93 number. Okay,
Yeah.
so he was a batch 2015 pass out students, and in RPCP history, he's the most progressive students, I can say. Why progressive? I'll tell you, but before I'll inform you about his current designations. So currently he is a full-time PhD student under the guidance of Zalfa Abdul Malik Madam uh, in Department of Dermatology, College of Medicine, University of Cincinnati, USA. So it is a, one of the best university in USA as well as the world. Comes under top 100 university. And if I introduce Parth, then I remember that up to fourth semester he had many etiquettes in subjects. Many, that means more than 4 5 etiquettes. Then he went off to London, and London uh, and after came back to London, his attitude was totally changed. We had seen new Parth after he came back from the London. Then after fifth and sixth semester, he didn't having any etiquettes, and pass his third year of B Farm with good CGPA. Then cracked GPAT examinations. After GPAT examination, he admitted at Naipur Raebareli, and he has worked with CSIR lab, Lucknow, and then uh, he joined University of Cincinnati as a PhD student. So again, I am telling that he is a most progressive student of the RPCP. So with this brief background, we'll start with the talk on scope of pharmacy in foreign countries for pharmacy graduates. What are the requirements and how to select the university? Okay, so students, we all know that our students are generally know the if they want to go for higher studies, they only remember the name of US, Canada, and Australia. Apart from that, there are many countries are there where there is a great demand of the pharmacy. Okay, so with this background part, again on behalf of RPCP Charu side, we are thankful to you for accepting our invitations and take a pain to deliver a talk at 12 o'clock at USA. So again, very thankful to you. Uh, Over to you, Parth. You can start your presentations.
Sure. Thank you very much, sir, to you and as well as RPCP, because it's always nice to talk to students and like encourage them to pursue further studies, focusing on several aspects. But I would like to divide my talk in two segments. So first segment, I will focus on like perspective in foreign studies after BPharm. So particularly, I will focus on like what is the scope, what to do study in any university abroad for masters or PhD, and then what is the actual process to do so to get admitted. And second segment, I will focus on that like okay that you want to study abroad, you want to pursue further study in any abroad country, but right now what do you have to do before starting the process of admission and exams that you appear for. But right now what you have to do. So let's start first with the perspectives and scopes, that what are the scopes and like process for admission in foreign universities after BPharm. So with respect to scope, first I can say scope is amazing. It's amazing in India as well, but foreign countries give you better opportunity, better exposure, of course. So if anyone like when I was doing B Farm, like it like pharmacy kind of in Gujarat particularly under where was undergoing like people were saying like it is under recession and stood like pharmacy graduates are not getting good job, and then students always was thinking about of going abroad, but it's not so. Like wherever you go, wherever you find the opportunity and you do good, scope is always there, opportunity is always there. So in any foreign country you go for any subject of pharmaceutical sciences or pharmacy, scope is very good, scope is very nice. You will get good job, you will get good place, you will get good training, you will get good knowledge. So no doubt on that. Secondly, what are the subjects area that you can choose? So I would leave this particular matter on a particular student. He or she has to think right now. It is the time, like particularly for third year and fourth year students, that which subject area he or she is interested in, what fascinates him or uh, like particular subject. It could be chemistry, it could be pharmacology, it could be pharmaceutics, it could be analysis, anything. But you have to find your interest right now, that for further study, what subject area you want to go. Uh, Third, okay, you have found your subject area and you want to study abroad. So, based on what decisions you will choose particular university. But before coming to the university, I think it would be more appropriate to talk about a particular country, that which country you want to obtain, because several students might have preference for a particular country, and within that country they want to choose any university. But with respect to country, I can say, like, if you are focused, you should be. If you are not like if you are, but you should be focused on getting trained, getting good knowledge, getting the good degree, getting good exposure, rather than going like just going for a particular country just for the sake of immigration purpose or anything else. But any country you take, like if you take my example, when I was looking for a PhD position, I applied everywhere, almost in every country, including USA, Canada, UK, Germany, France, Spain, Australia, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, Scotland, Netherlands. On the top of my head, I can think about, but I was more focused on getting admission into a particular lab or university or department where the research is going on of my interest, not like that, like okay, I'm getting this country and I will get work visa after this, and then I will get green card or PR after my study and work, and like so this will be better. But you should more focused about getting into a place where actually the work is going on in your interest. So you should always go with this. You actually want to study and get trained, and then I can say, if you opt if you opt further studies this way, like if you follow your passion, your interest, and you get a degree from any university in the world, any good university from any country, after your study you will get job definitely there. And after getting several experience, and even after getting job, I can say, like, entire world will be open for you. It will not like when I finish my PhD, I will have to stay in USA because other country will not be open for me. It is not like that. I can move to any country for my job. Like I can move to Canada, I can move to UK. Even if I think for postdoctoral fellowship after PhD, I can opt. I will again choose based on my interest and the university, not country. So the preference first should be top ranked university and top ranked department, particularly because like here people also categorize the university depending upon particular department and college. So you should always choose based on your interest, your passion, and university accordingly. Not country. It doesn't matter whether you go to Australia, whether you go to New Zealand, whether you go to Canada, whether you go to France or Germany. You will get good exposure, you will get good training, and you will be trained sufficiently, and you will get more importantly the confidence that you want after studying here. That like okay, you are applying for jobs anywhere and you can crack down the interview. You are confident enough about your knowledge that you are sufficient enough to carry out independent projects, independent research work, and you can go anywhere. You can get selected. It is not like, okay, I'm in this particular process or company is very big, I cannot think about this, or I don't have sufficient knowledge about this particular area. So for that you need confidence. For confidence you need knowledge, and for to gain knowledge you should always study in an environment of your interest and the university which is highly ranked and which is best in the world. Then I come to specific requirements for admission. So before coming to specific requirements, I can talk about like generalized requirement. Like if you want to go to any country, what will be the general requirements for the students? So if you want to take notes, then you can take. You can write out that what will be the requirements for applications and admissions and uh, stuff. So first, like people are always consider, like if they are considering USA for further studies, they always ask about GRE, because like they find it more competitive than other exams, and like they have to dedicate significant efforts and time to crack GRE. And so but I can say like GRE is also now being eradicated from the US universities. Many, like more than 50%, 50 to 60% universities have, they don't require GRE score anymore for masters or PhD program, because like they start Ivy Leagues university, particularly Harvard, Yale and MIT started this, that students are not best, uh, they are not being judged in best possible way by GRE. So they started uh, to stop taking GRE score as requirements for applications for masters and PhD. So even if I talk about my university, my college and my department, like GRE score is not no more required or not mandatory for application, but rather they are switched now on focusing on academic requirements and academic performance, that how good academically the student is. The second requirement, and this is of course important as well as necessary, is IELTS or TOEFL exam to show English proficiency, as we belong to non-English country and then we want to study in English country. Then IELTS and TOEFL will either IELTS or TOEFL, that you have to check on the university website that which one they take. Most of the universities take IELTS across the world. Here in USA, some of the universities want only TOEFL. They don't accept IELTS, but more than 80% of universities accept IELTS as well. So you can prepare for either of them. I gave both because one university just wanted TOEFL, so I had to give it them. Um, then you will need your all academic transcripts that you can take from Charuset and your degree certificate. At the time of application, they don't want degree certificate or transcript of even like last semester. You can apply before that. When you are in seventh semester, you can apply to an university. They don't want transcripts up to last semester. But when they are sending you I-20 letter and you are actually being admitted, and before you come to USA, they require you to send the like full transcripts as well as degree certificate. Some of the universities also they are also permitting like you take degree certificate along with you when you come here. You don't have to send it. uh, so this is general requirement. Another important, the most important requirement I would say is statement of purpose letter, or in some countries they also call it as motivation letter, particularly in European countries. Like if you apply to Germany or France or Spain or Austria, they will call it a motivation letter. uh, I think most of the students might be knowing this, what is it, but you just have to show briefly that why you want to pursue this, why you are capable of doing this, what is your motivation, why you are, why do you want to pursue this, what is your passion. But you have to justify all these things with showing them evidences of your academia, of your extracurricular activities, of your achievements. It could be anything. Then comes to recommendation letter. So universities, most of the universities require 3 recommendation letters that you can take from the professors that you have either worked with, or you have like worked in lab, or even they have taken your classes. You can take from those professors. And lastly, let's talk about finance, because most of the students will be interested in knowing like what will be the cost of studying abroad and what financial requirements they have to take care of. So it varies from program to program, universities to universities, and countries to countries. If you want to pursue master's degree, let's talk about first US and Canada, because they have very similar structure of masters, particularly, and then I will talk about other countries as well. But for USA and Canada, for master's degree, you have to show financial requirements that you are capable of paying all fees and bearing all the expenses, living up, starting from living here, accommodation, as well as university fees and other fees. So, but when you come here, then you might get an opportunity working as a teaching assistant or even research assistant, or working on campus in any place like library or parking or even in cafeteria, which is part time. So you can bear, like you can cover all your accommodation expense, at least for master students I'm talking about. But if you opt good for good public university in USA, which is good ranked, which is publicly funded, either from state or federal, so mostly you will get an opportunity after a semester or 6 months to work as a research assistant. I'm talking about particularly in our field, in pharmaceutical sciences or any life sciences or medical related field. You will get an opportunity to work as teaching assistant or research assistant. Even if you start your thesis, your project supervisor might have good funding in the lab, and they might be able to offer you research assistantship during your second year of thesis work. So when you get such assistantship in terms of teaching assistantship or research assistantship directly from the department or the university or the professor, your entire university fees will be waived automatically. You don't have to pay any fees anymore, and you will get assistantship in terms of stipend, either bi-weekly or monthly. Here in US or Canada, I'm talking about. If you talk about other countries, from my experience, for master students in other countries, you have to pay fees for first year, similar in a way here in US or Canada. But for European countries, Australian countries, and UK, they have more stringent requirements, because or they have limited funding for international students. But the most appropriate way to get funding will be based on the lab and supervisor. So uh, your project supervisor or lab supervisor or PI will be able to fund you, not the university directly per se. But you have an opportunity for European countries as well as Australia and UK to apply for different scholarship programs. Even I applied for several scholarship programs and fellowships for my uh, PhD when I applied to Europe and UK. On the top of my head, I can remember is like DARD fellowship, it is called. Uh, Another one is Madame Curie Fellowship. Uh, Another one is uh, I think Indo-German, Indo-France, Indo-Spanish. It is like that you can search up always on internet. But this is like good opportunity to get funding if you want to pursue masters or PhD from such countries, because those countries have even like super good institutes. You can get into even better institute than you can get in USA or Canada. Like in Canada or USA, you can get into a university with rank of, for an example, 200. But in Germany or France or Australia, there are good universities, and you can get into like top 10 or top 20 universities in the world, like University of Heidelberg in Germany, or University of Austria in Austria. So there are good universities that you can search in these countries, and I really encourage, don't just focus on USA or Canada. Always keep your open door opportunities open, because you don't know, because like you can get better training, better education, and better knowledge in those countries and those universities. So funding in these countries are like this, but as again, like for master's program, you have to show financial uh, requirements to them, like your what's your preparation to cover all the expenses. For PhD applications, and I really encourage, and I will talk in within few minutes, that for PhD student, because I really got inspired by your recent senior Karan Gandhi. So he got directly PhD admission after bachelor's degree. And even in my department, there is one student from Jamia Hamdard. He published 9 papers during his bachelor's degree, and he directly got into PhD program in my department. I was starting PhD at 25, and he started PhD at 22. So this is very good opportunity. I will talk about in several minutes. But for PhD students here in US and Canada, you don't have to apply for any external scholarship or fellowship program. If you get into good public university, you directly get assistantship and fellowship and scholarship directly from the university and department and your PI. You might have to work as a teaching assistantship or research assistantship, but for research assistantship you will be funded by directly from your supervisor. For teaching assistantship you will be funded by your department or the university, and you might have to take several classes, or you have to proctor an exam, or you might have to just grade the exam uh, while doing a job as a teaching assistantship, and which is not more than, I can say, 8 to 10 hours per week. And at the same time you get the same stipend as a research assistant. Stipend is not different, so you don't have to apply for any external scholarship, or you don't have to take care of external funding source for PhD in US and Canada. For other countries as well, uh, the concept is the same. PhD without funding is not feasible option, it's not practical option, and it's not wise option. PhD without you always get funding for PhD in any country you go, even in Germany or any European country, UK, Australia, New Zealand, you always get funding for PhD. For Australia, from my experience, I applied and faced an interview, but they wanted me to have a research paper published to get funding from the university. A PI could also fund me, but it could be like later on, because he had not active grant at that time. He could fund me later on, but you always get funding for PhD study in any country directly from your PI or the university. You don't have to apply for any other scholarship or assistantship. Um, then uh, after requirements, for these are the basic requirements I talked about, like GRE, LTS, TOEFL, academic requirements, transcripts and degree certificate, and SOP and recommendation letter, and financial requirements. Uh, so how to uh, so I said that like you should always choose the university or country based on your research interest and research area, whatever you want to work in. So how to how do you know, like after you find your interest, that okay, that I'm interested in doing in medicinal chemistry, or I'm interested in doing pharmacology, then how will you find particular university or department or college, or even particular lab or professor that uh, his work is in medicinal chemistry, or this department here is medicinal chemistry and it is a very good department? So I would say that what I did that I went through a thorough literature search, published recent research papers when I was doing my thesis work during masters. So I made a list, okay, that this research lab, this group, this professor is working in this area, he's publishing good paper, he's doing good research work. So I made a list that like this is the university, this is the professor's name, department name, college name, his work is on this subject, his and this is his email ID. So I made a list and approached the professors then that, oh, I want to do PhD in your lab and consider me. And you have to show your passion, motivation, and your interest at the same time showing that what you have done so far in this particular subject area. So you always choose university in such a way that you search the department or professor that they are working on this particular research area. Here, particularly, if you see any good university in abroad country, you will always find that within a college, even a particular department or a particular college is dedicated to a particular research area. For an example, if you take an example of any university and you go, okay, college of pharmacy you searched, and then you want to pursue your masters or PhD in medicinal chemistry. So then you go to college, and then you go to department, medicinal chemistry department, and then you search for look for professors. Most of the professors, 90% of the professors in the medicinal chemistry department in that college might will be working only in area of cancer. Most of the universities have like same structure. They have particular department dedicated to particular area of research for, say, metabolic disorders, say neurodegenerative disorders, say cancer. So they have particular research area, so it will be even easier for you to find such departments and college that you want to work in particular, like pharmacology. Okay, pharmacology, what you are interested in, and then you can search according to that. For PhD, then I would say that you will mostly, in 95% of cases, you will face an interview before getting admission. The interview could be directly from the professor, it could be from the department where multiple professors will be present, or sometimes it can be from the funding department from of the university as well. Sometimes, not so much times, not here in US or Canada, but in other countries you face an interview from uh, the department that they are funding you. Excuse me, sorry. So what to expect when you face an interview for admission of PhD? They don't go much into science. They ask like briefly about basic scientific concepts about a particular area. They just mostly they want to see that you actually are interested in doing PhD. You can keep it up to 4 or 5 years. You are actually motivated to do so, and what are your future plans and perspectives? What do you want to do in future? They just want to know this, so they don't much go into science. Some scientists or some professors might ask about scientific concepts of a particular area, but just briefly, not too much. So these are the perspective and process that like you appear for required exams, then you prepare all the documents that I mentioned, and then you contact to professors or you search for universities according to your interests. Again, don't focus on particular country because of immigration or any other purpose. And then you apply for PhD, you face an interview, but for masters you get directly a decision upon your admission. So let's move that, okay, that this is the process and that you have to do when you start for all admission process and necessary requirements. But what you have to do now, I particularly wanted to involve this particular matter because now, if you take an example of USA, it applies to all the other countries, but even in USA now, they are uh, now not like GRE requirements. They are now eradicating. They don't want even US universities don't want GRE scores now. Most of the universities now. So students had thinking that okay, that my like I don't have anything else in my background and I just want to go for masters, and I can, if I can get good GRE score, then I will be able to get scholarship or funding or good university. But now they don't want GRE anymore. So how do you show that you are eligible and you are enough, like enough, and you can cope up with why you are good for this particular university, so high ranked university, so good university, why are uh, you good? So for this, what you have to do right now, because it is the time for this to fulfill this requirement, you have to do something more than the admission process, more than the exams they require. You have to do something more. So what is it? They want to see that you are academically capable enough to study here, to pursue research here, and be a good student. So I would encourage that you start your exam, particularly for like final year students. It is time for them to think about it and start preparation for admission. But apart from starting the preparation for admissions and exams and documentation and everything, but please focus more on your studies right now. Uh, at the same time, also not compromising your focus and your goal that you want to pursue masters or PhD from abroad university, but focus on your current study as well. Please clear your all whatever you are studying and whatever you are interested in studying in future. Make a concept clear, every basic scientific concepts clear about that particular subjects. For an example, like if you are like interested in pharmacology, and I can give you example of, for an example, GPCR, take G protein coupled receptor. So you should be knowing that what is GPCR. It is not important to know that it is what, but it is again important that how and why. That why is it GPCR, what it does, why is it called G protein coupled receptor, what is G protein, why is it called G protein, what is the secondary messenger system. Okay, this is secondary messenger system, then there must be primary messenger system as well. What is primary messenger system? So you should always be thinking about such concepts in particular subject area, and it is time for you now to do so, because they will always seek a student whose scientific concepts, not transcripts, not your academic performances or CGPA. They always go with scientific concepts and basic concepts, that whether they are clear. And at the same time, like even if you look for India, like GPET and NIPER or any NATE, CSIR, NATE, UGC, NATE, they always look for basic concepts. They don't go into uh, like just information. So I would say, like, apart from asking yourself whenever you are learning or studying or reading, apart from asking yourself that what is this, always ask that how and why. That why is it so? If this reaction is happening, why is this happening? If this is how this is happening. So this will help you clear your concepts, and don't hesitate to ask any question to the professors in the, like in RPCP. Don't hesitate to ask anything. If you have any query, don't be ashamed, don't be uh, don't like have any fear that like what someone will think or what professor will think, that I don't know this, I like what my colleagues will think. Just ask and clear the concepts and study. Like you should be knowing much detail and basic details about any particular area. because this will be important here when you will face an interview for PhD or even for masters. Here, even like if you start your masters, they will, even in exams, they will never ask you direct question. They will always go for basic concepts, and you will always feel like you are giving GPAT or NIPER exam in each and every exam. So please focus now. This is very important, particularly during our undergraduate studies, because we have much more time to study. We have more subjects to clear the concepts of. So this is particular time. In addition to this, now like RPCP and professors of RPCP are also taking steps to prepare students, particularly now, like I heard several occasions where students were working on review papers and even research papers and research work. So please, each and every student of at least third and fourth year uh, batch, each and every student should be, like in best case scenario, each and every student should be working either on review paper or research paper or any of the project. Please contact to the professors of the department that you are interested in, express your interest or develop your interest first. If you are like, if you are just doing your academic work, it is not sufficient now in this, like this particular time where competition is high, when you are like, you are aiming for big goals, you are aiming for foreign countries, foreign universities. Just academic requirements are not sufficient. You have to do more and you have to show more. So please, like, approach to the any professor from any department you are interested in, then like express your interest that I want to work on review papers. They will teach you. And if you are like, if you don't know that how to write paper or review paper or how to do literature search, I think like even RPCP is like giving that training as well to the undergraduate student, that like what is the review, literature search, what are the databases, and how can you search review, and even how can you write then. Also, if you get an opportunity, please, apart from your basic lab works for each semester, also try to get involved in research work. And not even like, not if in detail and deep work, or like when you are carrying out independent like project, just being alone with your professor. Just try to contribute just in like a few experiment where you can learn like how to design experiment, what to do, what data you can get, how to troubleshoot the problems that you are getting. Once you have gotten the data, then how can you interpret that data, how can you make sense out of that data. So this will be very important. And here, trust me, like if you go for any good university in any abroad countries, undergraduate students finish their undergraduate in 5 or 6 years. They study same as like we study in India for 4 years, but after completing their 4 years of requirements, they do such kind of research activities in any lab. Basic research activities. They are not carrying out independent project work, but basic research activities or basic experiment they are learning in their like fifth year or fifth and half year after that. So they have like a little bit research experience when they graduate, and they take their bachelor's degree. And most of the students from good university, from good lab, they even publish papers, and they are now ready to go directly for PhD. For PhD studying, for PhD study in abroad country, you don't have to have master's degree. You can directly apply from bachelor's degree. And you might be knowing, you know Karan Gandhi, and I gave you example of my friend as well. They directly got PhD admission after bachelor's degree. But you need to do that. You need to do something more than your academic requirements. And I really encourage you, and really take this seriously. Work on any review paper, research paper, and try to publish it. Because if even if you do like only one activity, either review or research paper, you will learn a lot out of it. A small aspects of it, that how, as I mentioned, like about how to design and so forth. And for writing skills, again, writing is also taken very seriously here. That how good are you in writing skills, that you are not copying the information. I remember from my undergraduate days, like we had last year project in entrepreneurship, and we were just. I admit that we were just copying the information from the internet and like compile it and just submit it in form of project. It is not a project. You are not learning out of it. So writing skill is also important, but you can do it now. You have an opportunity. RPCP has taken that initiative now, and professors are also like encouraging students. So please do it. Apart from academic, you should have something on your hand to show that you are capable enough of doing masters or PhD and doing research. You will of course learn a lot here or in any good university, so please do so. So this is the fundamental requirements that I wanted to share with you, that what you have to do right now, apart from what admission processes and requirements that you have to fulfill to get admission. But now is also the time that you have to do something more than your academia. So I think I covered both the aspects, and with this I conclude my talk, and I will be happy to answer any question any student has about any step or any particular matter.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
I think you have finished your term.
Yes. I have
Okay,
opened the
now,
session for
yes,
questions if any student has. Yeah.
yes. One question is already there.
Yeah.
After pursuing master in pharmacology in
Mm-hmm.
foreign, what can one do? After pursuing master in pharmacology in foreign, what can one
Mm-hmm.
do?
Well, like direct option, I can say he can opt for PhD. He can opt for any industry job. He can opt for any academic job as a research assistant, like full time research assistant. It's a full time job. That will be academia job. He can opt for industry job. In industry, I can say like companies are doing preclinical studies, even basic studies, basic pharmacological studies. Um they are screening leads. Then like once they have molecule, like they have several positive molecules ready, then they opt for preclinical studies. So so after pharmacology you can opt for such studies. Companies are even open for like clinical studies for pharmacologists, where they want clinical pharmacologists. But even like after pursuing pharmacology you can opt for that job as well. For academia as well, like you can opt again as a position as a research assistant in any university or any research institute. Again, you can always opt for PhD and further studies after this.
Any more questions, student?
And this applies not only to pharmacology, it applies to like any subject, whether it's chemistry or pharmaceutics or pharmacokinetics or anything.
Uh, Part question is already there in chat box.
Okay.
Is clearing PVC important if we want to pursue PhD in pharma field? Specifically talk on Canada.
Is clearing PBC if you want to pursue PhD in pharma field? No. PBC is an entrance exam to be a registered pharmacist. This is another aspect of doing like study abroad. That being a pharmacist is a totally separate stream and separate area, and doing masters and PhD is totally separate area. Doing masters and PhD, you are opting for research stream. PBC is for being a pharmacist and getting license from Canada uh, to become a pharmacist. So you then will be pharmacist and you will be working in a pharmacy store or any pharmacy there. So for to pursue PhD, PBC is not required at all. It is totally different stream. To become a pharmacist and to get pharmacist license there, PBC is required. For masters and PhD, it's like research stream. It is totally different. You don't need PEBC for that. Then I see, is epidemiology a good option to study after B Farm? Yes, epidemiology is always good study to pursue after B Farm. Usually, you will find epidemiology in colleges related to environmental health or public health, because it has something to do not with basic science research or basic subjects that we are learning. But epidemiology is very like ravishing and very demanding branch, particularly in any country. You say epidemiology is always a good option, and I'm really interested in that particular subject area. But you will have to see that if you want to take admission in epidemiology, you will have to search either in public health or College of Environmental Studies, not in College of Pharmacy. Is there any alternative options of PEBC with respect to PR? With respect to PR, like I can say in Canada, they are open for immigration. So you always get PR after certain work experience after any study, like whether you do masters or PhD. PBC is again, I say, as I said, PBC is to become a registered pharmacist and take pharmacy license in Canada. So with respect to PR, I can say PBC is not directly related to PR. You can get PR from any degree, from masters or PhD. Students are doing postgraduate diploma in Canada, which I'm totally in opposition with that, because you get like job, you get PR, but after a certain period of time you will always seek for better opportunity and better position, which will, and your postgraduate diploma degree will be hindrance to that. So please opt, again, always focus and opt for masters or PhD and from good university. Is biotechnology a good option for doing masters in foreign country after completing BFAR? It is amazing branch. Biotechnology is now biotechnology is like now everywhere in any of the diseases you take. For any therapeutics, it is now like demanding. For cancer therapeutics like immunotherapies, for neurodegenerative therapies like stem cell therapies and biologics. So biotechnology is, and it is like very related to basic science required for such therapies for like untreated diseases. Biotechnology is like super good, uh, because gene therapies and biological therapies are now considered everywhere in every area. Is there difference between fall intake and spring intake? Yeah, fall intake is mostly most of the programs and most of the your masters or PhD studies will start in fall intake. They have spring intake as well, but it is very limited. So only few universities offer spring intake, particularly masters and program. I'm speaking about. But if you are like opting for PhD after B Farm, or even after your masters you are opting for PhD, they might consider you for spring intake. If you are not able to join in fall intake, then there will be not at all any problem in that. So with respect to just intake, this is the only difference. If you have interest in pharmacogenomics, should you opt for direct masters in pharmacogenomics or do masters in pharmacology and then choose pharmacogenomics or better? No, always opt for any subject area directly in masters after B Farm. Don't go for like one masters and then you opt for another masters. You can always select any masters that you are interested in. So I would say directly go into pharmacogenomics. Again, you will see pharmacogenomics study uh, in both basic science research as well as public health research. Uh, and even in like pharmacology department. So, but you always opt directly into pharmacogenomics. You don't have to do pharmacology first and then pharmacogenomics. Yeah. If I take a gap year of BPharm, will there be any difficulty? And no difficulty after admission. I took gap of 1 year after my masters. After my masters, I started preparing for GRE and all other exams, and then applied. So I did job for 8 months, and before that, I prepared for and appeared for all exams. So there will be no any difficulty in admission. But it is highly recommended that you opt for any job and simultaneously you prepare and apply and do everything. So like you will not be there will be like you have job experience, then you can show on statement of purpose as well that you have this experience. Is QA/QC good field to study and do job in USA? I have not seen much like research, particularly in this area. QA/QC is demanding, but not like QA/QC is basically uh, not like basic research is not going on so much in QA/QC area. You will get like pharmaceutical analysis master's program, and then you get job in industry, but it will not be a research job here. uh, but rather you should like you can consider chemistry if you want to opt for that. Again, like in chemistry you will study everything, not only chemistry. GR is required for the admission in university. Uh, GR is like mostly required in USA, and now USA universities, most of the US universities are also now not wanting GRE score. So you will have to check on the university website, particularly department website, whether their department require GRE or not. But most of the universities have stopped now taking GRE score. Can pursue cosmetic sciences? Of course, definitely. It is highly like it is one of the most bright branch in like any country you can say. Here in my department, like there is cosmetic sciences program at University of Cincinnati, and University of Cincinnati is the like first university in the USA who started cosmetic programs here, and you can get in any good company after doing your masters in cosmetic science. So it is good branch. Can we expect a good salary? Of course, but that will depend again on like how well you are trained, and how good your degree is, and how good you have studied. You can always get good salary after masters and PhD in any foreign country. There is no doubt or about that.
Okay. Hello, Parth. I'm Mehul
Yes.
Patel.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay. So from my side, this considered as a like really a right eye-opening session for our BPharm students. So from this
Yeah.
session, student get a lot of information, their doubts and the question like say that they are more interesting in the foreign countries for their higher studies. But
Mm-hmm.
the question from my side is that like the seventh semester right now the student those who are participating over here is from the third semester, fifth semester and the seventh semester, right?
Right.
But like in that case is the seventh semester student have like no more chance to improve their academic, improve other like research publication and everything. They are
Mm-hmm.
only with their only academic score. So
Mm-hmm.
now for them what are the option now what they can do, because the time that has already gone regarding the publication and everything to improve other
Right.
the academic. So
Mm-hmm.
that question is there, and the second is the like the third semester and the fifth semester students have the more
Mm-hmm.
time. So what your message for the third semester and the fifth semester students, so they can do other than the academic.
Right. So I would say like for seventh semester students, like students who are really interested, uh, they could, but because like it is seventh semester, and then they still have eight semesters, so they have almost like 8 to 9 months at least, right, before like graduating, before finishing their degree. So if possible, they can work with any professor, and if not research or activity or research paper, they can think about a review paper in any small peer reviewed journal. But they can at least work on review paper within like 4 or 5 months. They can learn and then write, and at least at the time of admission, or submission, which will be maybe January or February, or it could be even March, at least they can write on their statement of purpose that I have worked on falana falana review paper and it is being communicated or it has been communicated in this journal. So they can do this. Apart from this, they can show, like I'm sure RPCP so far, like they are now in their last year. So during first year, second year, and third year, RPCP and even like other universities, they might have gotten an opportunity to present something like poster presentation or any other things apart from, in addition to their academic just activities. So they can include these things as well to show in their statement of purpose. And as always, like if nothing happens, then they can always at least learn from the professors. They can communicate, discuss, and try to learn that what is this, like how do you just discuss like theoretically that like how is research being performed and what things we have to consider, how do you write, how do you search the literature. To be frank, I admit, like during my BPharm, I didn't know even what is PubMed. Like I might have opened PubMed to do literature search for several subjects and project requirements, but I didn't know like this is PubMed and this is the use and this literature and this is this data we can get out of this. So they can always learn about these subjects and these things. For third and fifth year students, I would highly recommend and encourage them to do something more than academic from this point, from today, from now. Like ask to professor, contact to any professor of the department that you are interested in, express your interest that I'm like curious about this particular thing, or if you have any idea about something, then you can share that idea with them and then you can work on that, whether it's like research area or review area. And even first you can even at least start with that, like what is review paper, how do you choose the topic, how do you do literature search, and then start working on that because you have plenty of time, plenty of the time, and do your research for review paper. Apart from that you can always engage into any research activity that any professor is doing there. That just express your interest to the professor, request them that I want to be involved in this particular research area, I want to learn, and then I want to do it so I can contribute to it and I can get some benefit out of it. That will be again helpful. That will be with you for your entire life and for your entire career. It is not just for the purpose of admission, but whenever you achieve something, it will be for your entire career. You can always show it on your CV. So that is highly recommended for third and fifth year students. And again, for all students, like work on your basic concepts. There is one question: is GRE score would aid in getting scholarship in Canada? Not all universities in Canada are asking for GRE, and I guess like since USA is also now, US universities are also not taking GRE scores as a requirement. Canada universities might be doing the same, but not all universities in Canada want a GRE score. Uh, but some universities might consider it still, and it would help in getting scholarship, but it is not necessary thing. Like you can get scholarship based on your admission, your based on your academic performance, and even like when you start your research for masters, like second year, you can get scholarship from professor or department or university. It is not that just GRE high, like good GRE score will give you scholarship. No. If we are going to USA on immigration file, then what are the requirements for master? Requirements for masters stays the same. if you are going to USA on immigration file, because you are like you have the concept is that because you have to appear for master IELTS or TOEFL exam, the concept is that your degree is from any non-English speaking country. If you have taken your undergrad, whether like you are, if you are for an example, you are not citizen of USA and you have taken your degree here in USA, so then you don't have to appear for IELTS or TOEFL, whether like despite of that you are Indian citizen, but your degree is from USA, so you don't have to appear for IELTS TOEFL. But your degree is from India, non-English speaking country, so you have to appear for IELTS TOEFL. If university want GRE, then you have to appear for GRE. All other requirements like SOP, recommendation letter, transcript, finance, it stays the same. Just for finance aspect, like most of the states in the USA, they have like in-state and out-state fees. And since you will be considered as permanent residents or immigrant of the United States, then like you might have to pay a little bit less fee than international students pay. So it will be like in-state fee, but all other requirements stays the same.
So Parth, again,
Yeah.
we are very thankful to you for such an nice, informative as well as the interactive sessions. I think most of the students have cleared their doubts regarding foreign education in pharmacy education in foreign country. What are the scopes? What are the requirements? So still, student having any questions, you can just mail me or WhatsApp me. I'll convey your question to Parth, our alumni, and whenever he will get the time, he will revert back to us, and I'll inform to you. So still, if you are having any questions, you can directly email me as well as WhatsApp me. So again, Parth, really it's a very amazing and very helpful session for our RPCP students. So hope you will be continue with same spirit and same efforts in future too. So
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. It was really nice. And students were really actually, they like, I can get it from the questions they asked. They were really engaged and it was like really interactive session, which is good. Like I felt good that students are really
yes,
interested and they are motivated. Yeah. And
yes,
again,
yes,
like it's always nice to connect with RPCP and RPCP students. So it's
yes.
always my pleasure. Thank you.
So I think